Welcome to In the Library with Marsha and Adrian, brought to you by the Bedford Branch of the Monroe County Library System in Monroe County, Michigan.
I don't know. Whatever you guys want to do.
It's your show, Marsha.
No.
It is the Marsha show. Everyone knows it's the Marsha show. All right, sorry for that. We will get rolling here in a moment. All right, today is February 10th at 8:41 a.m. And you are listening to In the Library with
Marsha
and Adrian. And we have with us today
Janelle.
Welcome, Janelle.
So, Janelle, I wanted you to be one of the first guests that we ever had on this podcast once Adrian suggested it, because you have been saying for almost a year now that I should do a podcast, or we should even do a podcast and talk about books. And I kept thinking, like, I hate technology and who would want to listen. And so when Adrian approached this idea, I knew right away that I wanted you to be one of the first guests on here.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Well, go ahead.
And then, Adrian handles the technology, so that's out of the way.
Perfect, exactly, for both of us. But I also was describing you as an avid library user, which I feel like you are. I started jotting down all the notes and all the different ways I know you. So originally I met you at Books on Tap. Yay!
Yes.
I feel like that's the first time I've probably seen you in here before then, but that's the first I really got to know you, was coming to Books on Tap at formerly at Doolittle's, now at Quimby's, for our book club.
Right.
And so that's where we first kind of became friends. And then I also know your kids too, and your son. I hope this isn't too cringe.
It's total. I told them today I was doing this, and he was like, "Oh my god!" And then they just don't. I'm like, "Well, I can broadcast it at school if you'd like." And
yes.
They're like, "You're so cringe, Mom."
I know. I hope this isn't too cringe, but I do love it because I've also loved that he has come over with the classes, and so I get to see kind of all aspects, and then of course your involvement in robotics and some partnerships there, and just I don't know. I just feel like we've just done a lot together here at the library, and programming now recently, gaming night.
Yeah, and what feels like a short amount of time.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It really, but it's really been fun, and we've done a lot, and I'd love to see you anywhere, of course, but here in the library as well. And we were talking about the gaming night a little bit. You could talk a little bit about that. We were saying how fun that gaming night was.
Oh my gosh, it was so fun.
It was.
I loved the diversity of ages that came out. There was, your more, I don't want to say old, but elderly group in comparison to...
We're starting to fall into that, but
then you're middle age, which is where I'm at, and then your younger, younger adults. And I thought the diversity of games was great because you could do quick games, you could do more the longer strategy games. I liked learning that new game that you brought, Adrian.
Ticket to Ride.
Yeah, I'm buying that. I enjoyed that. I'm buying that, and I'm buying that.
Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza.
Yes, that was so fun.
Well, that's what I thought was fun too. Some people brought games. You brought a stack. I brought a stack.
Yeah.
I actually wanted your Bob Ross Happy Little Accident game. I totally loved that one, but I decided I'm too cheap to buy a game that I thought I can just make this up at home. So we've been playing that game with just, scrap paper and a Pictionary deck or whatever.
What I loved about it too was I did the bar scene and stuff in my youth, and it was great. I had a great time, but I don't recover anymore the next day. So I enjoyed having a night out with different people and talking to different people and doing, that social interaction, but
without the repercussions.
Right, without the repercussions of it. And I love board games. Yes. I love to play board games, and I told you my husband doesn't like to play them with me anymore.
Same.
Because he's a bad loser, not because I'm a bad winner. And
of course, I have the same problem.
Not me, no. And then
the same.
And so it was just fun to have. And sometimes too you want more than two people to play a game. So the more people you have, the more fun or challenging.
It was fun.
I keep telling everybody, if they do another one, you gotta go.
We've already kind of been talking about it. Maybe not monthly, but quarterly. Adrian's got another one in the works, I think. But Yeah, I thought it was super fun too. I just, for all those same reasons. And then they had really good snacks. Liz made those super fun cookies that I hammered that
Those
looked
were
like
cute.
video game controllers. And
Anything with free snacks on it.
I know. And then you
I
were
told
like,
you
I'll
that.
get us all pizza. You were so funny. You're like, I'll get everyone a pizza. But I thought it was went over really well. So
Which I
kudos
was
to you.
going to do the pizza, but the delivery was so long.
Yeah,
we
that
were
we'd be
we
done.
were going to be done. So the next time I'll bring a pizza.
You don't need to do that. We'll work on that too. We weren't sure how, or I mean, they weren't sure how it was going to
It was a good
out.
turnout. I thought it was great. You know, it wasn't too many, but it wasn't too little. I just had a great time. I had a lot of fun in it, and I've been telling everybody about it. And I'd love to do one like with, kids like 10 to 13, the age of mine. No, I'm just.
Well,
but
that's what family bingo night is
Well, I'm
for.
coming to that, but I
Okay.
do think it would be. Everyone complains that their kids are on they're gaming so much.
Yeah.
I know I could bring just 10 kids from my neighborhood alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be kind of a fun thing too, and to kind of have that family camaraderie,
Yes.
which I know you did have one, but I couldn't make it to that because of work.
Sure, but I know what you're saying is it's hard even just with the three of you to play a game at home. It's more fun to bring extra people and have options. I thought the
Well,
options of the games were great.
And
too.
then maybe not the distraction of
Mm-hmm.
home, like everything you have to do at home. Because sometimes you go to play a game and you see, oh, I got to
Clothes-
empty the dish. You just see
Yeah.
everything you have to
Clothes
do.
need to be folded and you feel
Oh,
guilty. You
I
feel
know.
guilty. Yes, me too. I have to kick that guilt.
So
No, that's
I loved
great.
it. You did a great job organizing it.
Well, I appreciate
For
that.
Adrian.
And if I could ask you a question now.
Sure.
Our listeners would like to know, what are your thoughts on garden gnomes?
I don't have any garden gnomes. I think they're cute, but then they're kind of creepy.
Cute or creepy? That's what I have questions, doesn't he? All of
Oh
a
my
sudden,
God.
he doesn't realize that we have stories about things like gardening. And since you said I was going to say that by the time it airs, this will be over. But this Sunday is that craft supply swap. I thought that might be something you'd be interested in.
Oh,
too.
I might, because I'm teaching myself the little crochet,
Yeah.
like stuffed animals, because I have a hard time sitting still, kind of probably like you. So at night, if I'm watching TV, to really be able to watch TV, I have to be doing something.
Same.
So I started doing that, teaching myself that. But I'm too cheap to pay for yarn.
Well,
So I figured that might be a good place to find
there's
some.
already a stash in the back. So Sunday from 1 to 3, come on over. You're here a lot on Sundays anyway, so pop
Usually.
on in. Yeah. Come on in this Sunday.
One of the things-
last Sunday for those of you
One
listening in.
of the things I'm an avid user of the library for is printing, because I don't
Yes.
have a printer.
Well, and that's the thing.
And I'm like, I'm not going to go spend,
Right.
this much money on a printer when I can just run over there and
Exactly.
for two or three things that I need once every couple weeks.
I agree. And I feel like I keep saying this, but we need to devote an entire podcast to like services like that, like printing. I mean, there's so much, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like we never hit everything, but printing again is 10 free pages in black and white a day, every day for every patron. And then color is 50 cents a page. So I think printing, especially on Sundays, like kids are trying to get something done for Monday morning or whatever. Printing is a very popular thing here. And the price of print ribbons, I think I would always print here. If you know,
So and then the cost of a printer, and then it never works, and then you got to replace the ink
Cartridges,
and
yeah.
paper, and just
yeah, so I do see you on the computers too, printing. Do you have another deep question? Or
I
what
feel
are you
like
gonna
we're
do?
dominating it.
That's okay.
He's used to it.
That's okay.
He's used to it. He said I'm like a
How
freight
much would you charge to wash every window in Bedford?
Everyone, like
Every
as
window.
someone to pay me.
No, yes.
The Bedford Library or the Bedford community?
No. The
Oh.
entirety of Bedford Township. How
There's
much
not
would you
enough money
charge?
I don't even wash my own windows.
Hard pass.
$30,000. No, that's cheap
that
for
doesn't even seem
every
like
window.
enough. Yeah,
There's too
no.
many houses in this
And
community
big
too.
houses with a lot of
Right, with a
windows.
lot of windows, and our skylights included in that.
If it's a window.
Yeah, there's not enough money. I hate washing windows.
I feel like we're soul sisters. Every time you say something, I'm like, me too. I'm sorry that it's double Marsha show today.
Now I'm lucky I have a husband who he washes windows inside and
Yeah.
outside. He'll even go outside and do it.
Yeah, I know my husband too. He basically
And I'm just
does
like,
everything.
it's good that you do that, because I wouldn't even think to go outside and watch it. I'm like, it rains. Stuff.
All right. So another question I do have to ask you. What have you been reading lately?
There we go.
A Bar in Toledo. I'm almost done with it.
Yay! I know.
It's an easy read. It's interesting.
Yes, I don't want to give too much away, but
No.
plug for our book club. There we go. It's our next book.
Well,
club
you know what?
selection.
It kind of fills two things. One, I think I've said before, I'm not good at reading nonfiction. Like I usually have to listen to it, and even then, it needs to be like scandalous. If it's just
Right.
straight factual, I fall asleep. But I feel like this, has a little bit of scandal, but I also have like a little mafia fetish thing. So I'm like, it meets a couple couple things on my checklist of a good time, which is
Yes.
Scandal and Mafia.
And close to home.
And close to
I'll have
home.
in Toledo. So my one of these houses too, I think is, I'll show you in a minute. But my mother, again, who Adrian is the favorite part of this book podcast, but she also does not like to read and has read like 2 books in her life. But she read this one, and then we took a field trip and we drove around to look at all these places.
Well, I grew up over Douglas and Sylvania area.
That's what I was just gonna say,
and
that
it
one
kind of made
house
me
is right
laugh.
by
That
you.
was like, oh, that was kind of like, that was the rich part of town.
Yes.
Like, you know, and
isn't that funny?
and I thought it was kind of funny, so I'll have to tease my parents about that.
Right, back in the day. Well, that's the thing. I felt like, and then I passed this out at the Luther House, and one of the individuals there had said that her mother actually went to the trial for one of these mobsters, and they had connections to Jimmy Hoffa, and just I don't know. I also found it. I loved the Scandal.
Yeah,
I spent a lot
I like
of
the
time looking
Scandal.
things up online, and I mean, it's a little bit obviously. I wasn't going down to the Peppermint Club when I was, 3 or whatever, but
I
feel
walked
like,
by that. I don't, not now, but like,
Sure.
when I used to go downtown to go to like Banana Joe's and things like that.
Yeah.
And then even
Walk right by
now,
those
walk
streets.
right by those streets and buildings. And it's
Oh,
like,
sure.
oh, that's what that building was.
Exactly,
Or,
exactly.
and
And
that's
just-
kind of cool.
It was so fun for me to picture it being like alive back in the day, like Jerry Lee Lewis came. And so, I don't want to give too much away, but it's just the way that it was, back then. I feel like there was kind of a mourning period. I feel like downtown is coming back now, downtown Toledo. But I feel like there was kind of a big mourning period of, like you just said, we used to go out on Thursday nights too, college ID nights,
Yep.
to Banana Joe's and go to Club Bijou. I did that, Kips.
The main event.
Can't remember how old you were. Yeah.
Frankie's and stuff.
So I feel like that there was a little area of that, but then it had been sort of such kind of a dead zone, and now I feel like it's a little bit coming
Well,
back.
and then I was wondering, you read about this with the dance club and stuff, and
Yeah.
and like I went to the dance clubs and stuff with
Mm-hmm.
my friend. Are they even any around anymore? Like, is that even a thing?
I don't know. I don't really think so, but I don't know. I'm too old.
To your
If I-
point, it'd be
if I showed
Thursday
up to-
nights,
right.
You'd go and dance, or
College ID
Thursday,
nights and
Friday,
stuff.
Saturday,
Exactly.
and
If we show up now, we're just the
and I
old
felt like that.
has-beens.
So I guess reading it too, I'm like, oh, doing that at the age that I was doing all that stuff, and it was kind of, they were doing the same thing, I guess.
Right.
And
right.
I was just having a conversation. I don't know who it was, but we were talking about it. I'm like, do they even have dance clubs anymore? Or, I mean, that's how I stayed so skinny when I was.
Let's bring that back to the library. Adrian, dance night.
Dance night on the schedule.
Dance night at the library. I would be all in for dance night at the library because, I'm a fan as well.
It's got to be 90s rap, though.
Oh, yeah. I'd say 80s too. 80s and 90s.
80s.
Slightly difficult to dance to, but we can make it work.
80s and 90s dance night at the library. Let's make it happen. So that was funny to ask what you're reading. I know we read a lot of the same stuff.
So then I do have, which it's kind of prompted me to want to reread. I don't think I ever really read it in its entirety, but we're cleaning out some stuff, and I found the Unholy Toledo book that they talked about in there. And so then I'm like, well, I think I'll put that on my list of next reads too, just because I think it'll tie in well with this bar in Toledo.
I do. It referenced that book. We have that available at the library. It is in our local history room for library use only, but you're welcome to. You could get it on Melcat. You could request a copy and get your own version. I have one if you want it as well.
Well, I have
you
the
own
book.
it too. Okay. So I did the same thing. I went back. I searched the internet and did a bunch of research, and then I also reread Unholy Toledo, or at least excerpts. I didn't reread the whole thing. But I was also intrigued for all those same reasons. It made me feel like I was watching Goodfellas or, The Godfather. I just couldn't believe the shark skin suits and just everything that was going
you're just
on
kind of
down
like,
there.
well, and then
In
you're reading
Toledo.
it, and you're like, in Toledo? Like, come on.
It happened everywhere, but
know?
that was great.
And you're right. I'm sure, like any town, even
Oh, yeah.
even especially with it being such a factory-based town
Oh,
with
yeah.
everything, that it probably happened in a lot of towns
Right.
similar to Toledo, but you just don't think about it.
Yeah, and it runs the water up to Detroit. Like a lot of things still happen along
Yeah.
that route. But yes, I also loved that book. Surprisingly, so we will be discussing it. If you too are interested in reading A Bar in Toledo, we will be discussing it on March 7th at Quimby's for Books on Tap. Come on, even if you don't read the book, come on over for a nice, fun, lively discussion.
At 7:00.
It'll sound much like this one.
That seems like as good a segue as we're going to get for let's talk about things going on at the library.
Okay, great. So there's a bunch of things. We just talked about a couple of them lightly, but the Family Bingo Night is coming up. That's Tuesday, February 28th at 6:30. Kind of like you were saying, that's a good time to bring your kids of all ages. Manal is running this program, so she has it geared for younger children and older children, and the whole idea is to just bring families together and do some fun things.
And then do we need to register for that?
I believe registration is needed. It should say on that flyer right there.
Yes, register online,
Yep.
please, for that
Okay.
one.
But I'm going to caution you all that you will need to bring your A game. I have been practicing, and now I am a bingo pro.
Do you have your own daubers?
You know, I have the supplies. I have the skills. I've been training for weeks.
He's ready. He's ready. So a couple of things. I'll just kind of, do you want to do any of these? Maybe I'll do, so it's not the Marsha show. I'll pass some back and forth to you in the meantime.
Marsha is handing me work as we speak.
They know that's what I do. I'm going to hand you these three and we'll just tag team them. So you can do one and I'll do one.
The Bedford Historical Society and the Bedford Branch Library present the $2 New York Couple coming Sunday, February 19th, 2023 at 1 p.m. at the Bedford Branch of the Monroe County Library. Come and hear from Murda Gishar, I'm probably pronouncing that all wrong, a native New Yorker, to talk about her story of love and tragedy of 9/11. Find out the significance of the $2 bill in Murda's life and her husband's death in the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center. Thank you.
On February 21st, 2023 at 1 o'clock is our classic movie. We have a classic movie series every month. And this month, on February 21st, is Carmen Jones. Come on in for a movie day. We will have some popcorn and pop, and you can just bring a group and come on in and watch the movie on the big screen in the community room.
Is that related to the opera Carmen?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I've not seen Carmen Jones. I feel like I'm going to have to view it.
I've never seen Carmen Jones either, but
Yeah,
I am
maybe.
familiar with the opera.
Okay.
All right. So this is a two-parter real quick right here. So the Bedford branch of the library will be having the Bedford History Series first presentation. Yeah, let's go with that. The Spanish flu epidemic of 1918. That'll be Thursday, February 16th at 6 p.m. in the community room. Historian and author Rick Grassley will present on the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918 and how it affected Monroe County. Tying along with that, that will also be the date that I am launching the Bedford Branch's Oral History Project COVID-19. If you want to come in and leave an oral interview of your experiences, memories, anything related to 2020 through now, we're looking to archive some oral histories from our community. So if you want to sign up for that, you can email me. There's flyers all around the library with my email address on it. Let me know. I'll set you up with an interview. We'll get you recorded for posterity.
Oh, wonderful. And I am going to sign up for that as well, Adrian. So I will officially email you.
That's a neat idea.
I thought you'd be interested in that too.
Yeah, that's a neat idea. I mean, just even from it'd be cool if you could even get a kid's perspective.
All perspectives.
All perspectives.
Yeah,
It's open to
that'd be cool.
it's
Talk your
open to
kids into
all
it.
ages,
Keep 'em.
but
Bring them.
if they are under 18, we do need adults' permission to record them. So
And coming up on Saturday, February 25th from 9 to 1 is a picture book in service. This is perfect talk for teachers. You also get 4 in-service credit hours. You can register online for that as well. And I'll do another kind of two-parter too, because also beginning that day on February 25th, on that Saturday through March 5th is when we're going to do the Danish hygge, not higgy. It is hygge. It is all about coziness and contentment. Get cozy around the fireplace, enjoy peaceful music, warm drinks, relaxing activity, crafts, puzzles, and other people's company. So we're trying to run that for a whole week up here. It's beautiful by the fireplace. It'd be really nice if it was snowing.
So it's less Will Smith getting higgy with it and more hooga like a car horn.
Yes.
Hooga, hooga.
I switched those up. You're exactly right. So I was pronouncing it wrong for a long time and singing getting higgy with it, which was not the thing. Just like when we were playing that Bob Ross game and we kept saying scribble.
Oh my
just,
gosh.
I felt like we were singing every time we played that. Do you want to tap in for a sec?
For those of you not already in the know, the chess club meets Tuesdays from 2:30 to 6 p.m. in the fireplace area of the Bedford Branch Library. We've had a really decent turnout every week thus far. Please come join us.
Do you have to know how to play chess? Or are there people here who can help?
We actually have had lots of people come who do not know how to play chess, and we pair them up with people who coach them to teach them the basics.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there are all ages. So we have multiple sets that Adrian facilitates and sets out, but we also have people that bring their own sets, like he said, and wants to teach them. And so
Well, I'm only asking because we have this chess set, and my kids in the neighborhood, they were we could play. They were like, we could play chess, but we don't know how. And I thought, I should take them to learn.
That'd
Well,
be perfect.
They can come in and they can learn.
That seems like a chess game. That seems like a chessboard you use on election night. Who's gonna win? Oh, who's gonna win tonight? And also on Tuesdays, so come for chess club. It starts right after school. It runs until 6. But then there's also open play Legos from 4 to 5:30 in the round room. So you could come for chess, stay for Legos. Those are happening every Tuesday at the Bedford Library. Dumbledore's Army, they meet the third Wednesday of every month, so they will not meet again until March 15th. This is right after school for tweens and teens. And if you know what Dumbledore's Army is, that means you're already a Harry Potter fan. You don't necessarily have to be a Harry Potter fan to come. There are snacks and games and fun times, and that's a great program for tweens that want to come over right after school.
All right, the last flyer that Marsha shoved at me, very aggressively, may I add.
You almost got a paper cut.
I know. The resume writing workshop will take place on February 27th from 6 to 7 p.m. I will be leading that one, so if you want to see the ugly mug attached to this voice, come on out. Anyway, we will be going through the basics of organizing your education, employment history, various experiences, because frankly, a lot of job applications anymore require you to submit your resume online, and we'll try and show you some tricks to get through those dreaded resume filters.
Or uploading, things like that. That's what we help
like
a lot of people with. That's perfect. I don't know if you're doing either of these either. I am also going to talk about our the blues events that are coming up. So we have the big gig is coming up at the end of February. We are doing this we were calling them Tuesdays or Blues Days, all through all the branches of the Monroe County Library System. So the next one hosted here at Bedford is going to be on Tuesday, March 7th at 7 p.m., also book club. But if you love Peter Madcat Roos Karma Quartet will be here on Tuesday, March 6th at 7 o'clock in the community room. And that will be actually after the big gig, which is taking place at the community college on the 25th. But we will have our own Tuesday Blues Day on Tuesday, March 7th at 7 o'clock at the Bedford Library.
All right. 2 back-to-back computer classes here. We have Excel Basics, which if you haven't already registered, you have missed the first week, but it will be meeting on February 16th and February 23rd from 11 to 12 here at the Bedford Library. Additionally, we've got Microsoft Word Basics, which will be starting on March 4th and running through March 18th. That'll meet from 2 to 3 on Saturdays for those of you who maybe can't make it out during the week. We'll be going through some of the basics of Microsoft Word.
And don't forget about all of our online resources. Again, maybe we'll go into this in more detail, but if you're snowed in or you're unable to make it to the library, you could get any of our apps like Libby or Hoopla or Canopy, and you can get your books and movies and things right from home. So don't forget about using
and the cool thing is you can stream that from your TV.
Yeah.
So Netflix, if you don't want to
free.
pay for Netflix,
yeah.
I didn't realize how many TV series and stuff they had on there. I was like, oh.
Yeah, Netflix for free, Hoopla at your library. Just need a library card and an app.
The other streamings are going up so much in cost.
I know. See, great. Look at our best promoters.
Look
I
at
love
that.
this. You should
Avid library fan.
I know you should. She uses all avenues of the library. You should definitely get a job here.
And if you should find yourself snowed in and unable to come out to your library, please give myself or Marsha a call. We're filled with lots of hot air, and we can get you unstuck.
Well, Adrian, one more thing about you, because I feel like you're an inhuman robot. It's kind of crazy. And one of the things, since we just talked about this last night, again, this will air and you won't have a chance to come, but I wanted to hit lightly on it. Do you want to give a recap about the painting program a little bit? Do you want to talk about that?
So,
I thought it was correct.
at last night's painting program, there were tears, there was blood. No, none of that happened. Last night at the painting program, we had a good turnout. There was requests to have it again and possibly expand it over to Ellis. Ellis, if you're listening, there was a request to have Painting Remix Night moved up to your facility. So participants came in. We had lots and lots of snacks and beverages to partake of. Everyone received a painting and all of the paint supplies they needed to transform the painting they received into their own personalized masterpiece, or in my case, a steaming dumpster fire, but it is what it is, right? It was a night of worry-free paint experimentation.
I love it. But I love that was so popular too. I say this all the time, that there is something for everyone almost every day here at the library. And my goal is to try to find someone who maybe doesn't think there's something for them there and think about it like, oh, do you know we have Consumer Reports or Barron's, or did you know you could get car repair manuals online? So sometimes there's things that people who maybe are reluctant they don't like to read or they don't think they have a use for this place, and they really do. I mean, there's really so much going on here all the time.
That night, and again, and I said it earlier, but I just really like the social activities you guys have, because it's so hard sometimes to find ways to meet new people or to just feel like you're part of something. And I think that's what I really, and you guys have so much, like I would have came last night, but I already had committed to something else, but I was like, oh, that sounds like that would be something I would like to do and I would enjoy it. And then, to go do those, and again, it's provided at very little or no cost.
Right.
Like
right.
if you, some of those craft experiences where you go do the painting, for example, that can add up if you're going with a group of people or spouse. And
Sure. I love to say everything's free at the library. There are incidents, there are things like color printing and 3D printing, which are fair, it's all reasonable. But again, all of this stuff is provided, for free. So it would be great to just utilize it for sure.
Okay. Just real quick here, going into the trivia question from last week. Do either of you know the universal donor blood type?
I have a guess.
I know that one.
Okay, go ahead. What is it?
It's O, right? It's O.
Can you be more specific?
Negative?
It is in fact O negative. If you guessed O negative, you are correct. That is the universal blood donor type, not to be confused with the American goth metal band Type O Negative, which was active from the years 1989 to 2010.
I've never heard of that.
Well,
Adrian has an eclectic taste in music.
Maybe it's time you expanded your musical horizons.
I'm looking that up later. He teaches me about a new band every day.
Okay, so for those of you listening, here is this week's trivia question. Which musician was awarded the first gold record?
Ooh.
Which musician was awarded the first gold record?
Tune in next week to find out the answer.
Tune in next week to find out. I'll tell you this, it was not Type O Negative. I know that we're doing our sign-offs, and that's why I need to turn the microphone slightly towards you, Marsha, because I need you to give the Friends of the Library spiel.
Oh, the Friends of the Library spiel? What do you mean about, being a friend of the library? Awesome. I didn't know I was doing this. So our Friends of the Library meet once a month, and they are awesome. Everybody can be a friend of the library. You can just come to the meetings. They do wonderful things for us. They run the book sale that goes on. They raise money that stays here locally. So if we want to purchase things like shelving or snacks or snacks for these programs that you love, or bring in musical talents, probably not O negative since they've disbanded apparently. But our friends provide that. They meet every month here at the library. You can become one. Come on in and ask more about it. We have flyers. Frequently there are friends here working in the book room anyway. You could ask one of them how they feel about it. And you too can be a friend of the library.
I want to be a friend of the library. All right. And closing it out, this has been In the Library with
Marsha
and Adrian.
This has been In the Library with Marsha and Adrian. Thanks for listening. Our opening and closing theme was Off to Osaka by Kevin MacLeod, used with Creative Commons permissions.